Hello everyone, welcome to our tutorial again, ReactJS series, and now this is the third tutorial in React series, and this is for the file and folder structure of React. So let's get started with the React file and folder structure. So that is the application we have created at last video. So let's discuss one by one. So the first folder is node underscore modules. So what is node underscore module? So node underscore modules contains all the dependencies which require to execute your application. Now if you want to build one application for some restaurant, and if you want to scan a barcode, so the barcode is the library, which is a third-party library you want in your application. So those application are the third-party application going to install in node underscore modules. So that is all the dependencies present in the node underscore module. You can explore all the modules. Babel, which is basically a transpiler, which converting ES6 code to ES5 code, because till date all the browser understanding only ES5 syntaxes. Next folder is public folder. In public folder we have three important files, but we are going to discuss only about index.html and fabric icon and manifest.json. We are not going to discuss now in this video. We are going to discuss later on. So fabric icon is basically a web icon which is going to display whenever you are running your application. The index.html is the only single page application which is present in your project. So that is the only HTML present in your application, and this is the page making your web application is single page application. So if you go in the div, so in the body section, so if you know the basic HTML concepts, in HTML whatever the things we are writing in a body will be getting displayed in the browser. So here in the inside of the div tag we have id root. So note it down, what is the role of root, which is basically representing a root component. So we have already discussed about the components. Components are basically building blocks of your application. Every page is divided into the lots of components. So that is the root component. Whenever you creating a application, you will be getting one component that is called as root component, and also as a term of content you can say it's a app component. Okay, so that is the index.html. Now let's explore the source folder. In source folder we have two major important things: index.js. So index.js is basically going to render your application. So now you see render get element by id root. So that is the root, is app root. Whenever I am saying root, it's a root component. Now index.css, so whatever the styling we are giving to that first index.html, which is in a index.css. So let's talk about your control flow. So now first the control is on your index.html. Index.html we are getting in body tag we have a root. Next control will be transferred to index.js. Index.js is rendering the app component. So app component consists three files: css, js and test.js. So .js is basically for writing a business logic, .css for styling, and app.ts test.js will used for the unit testing of the application. Okay, so now the control flow is going from the index.html to your app.js, index.js, and now that it will come to inside of the app.js. So if you go to app.js, we have a HTML code inside of the function. So that is the code is going to visible in your application. So whenever you're running and whenever you're doing npm start, this is the content is going to display in your browser. So last we have one more file which is very important, package.json. So package.json is a basically configuration file whenever you are deploying your application. So all the dependencies you need to define here. So dependencies React 16.8.6, which is the current version of your React, and same thing you need to define in the production and development. That is the production build and development build. So that is the configuration and that is the structure of your. One more file is git ignore. So whatever thing you want to ignore, so now node modules, we are ignoring the node modules. Why we are ignoring? Suppose I want to deploy our application in a cloud. So I don't want to share my node modules because it's not needed. So only I want to share my code. Okay, so that is the file which is ignoring the not required content. So that is the file and folder structure of the Angular web application, and now we have contained all the React file structure in this code. So from node modules to your public folder and source contains all the 4 files: CSS, app.js, app.ts.js, and index.css. So that's all from my side in this video, and I'll be continuing to giving the component description in next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.